This episode, Big Girl Pants Podcast, is brought to you by Podcorn. So, Shapiro and I have been doing this podcast for 3 years now.
Yep.
And I have been ready to try to find some sponsors because we want to, monetize our podcast.
Yes.
Which essentially means partnering with brands that are going to bring value to our listeners.
Yep.
And
brands that we believe in as well.
100%. And we work full time. So this isn't our main source of income.
It's a passion project.
Yes. And we definitely want some brands and companies to align with us.
Yep.
And we will always be transparent about the brands that partner with us. And Podcorn is one of those that, I was actually really surprised when I found it, because when I started Googling how to get a sponsor for podcasts, which we could do a little bit more legwork.
Yeah.
Right? We could probably pitch to the people that have been on the show, or people that we know, or businesses, stuff like that. We could do that. It's a lot of work.
But like you said, we both work full time.
Exactly.
We have we also have lives outside of this. So this is kind of like the seventh thing in our life that we do.
Exactly. So it's once I found Podcorn, it was a website that I went to. I entered the information about our podcast, our statistics, demographics, how many subscribers we have. Then they partner you with companies who are interested in advertising through channels like yours.
Right.
So it just so happened that Podcorn was the first company that I pitched to that wanted to sponsor us.
Super cool.
So I went in, I selected dates, and I named our price.
Yep.
And we got sponsored.
And let me tell you, it's so easy. It's so intuitive.
Yes.
You just log in and there's not a learning curve.
Right.
You plug in what you want, your information, and within seconds, there's you can scroll through the possible sponsors.
Yeah.
So it's super, super easy. We're super excited to be sharing their brand just because we believe in it.
And for people like us, we're podcasters, but we also listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
So for anyone who listens to us who also has a podcast, this is super valuable for you too.
Absolutely.
If you want to start having sponsors.
Which you should.
Yes.
Yeah. So check it out today for sure.
Yes. So
Podcorn.
Podcorn, www.podcorn.com. You go in, you enter your details about your podcast, and then you can find sponsors for your show too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And now on to the episode. Okay.
Hi, this is Big Girl Pants Podcast,
where we talk about women, health, power, and wealth.
Hosted by
April Melton
and Kimberly Shapiro.
We are real women with real jobs doing real life.
Join us while we showcase inspirational stories and inspirational people.
Come on, y'all. Put your big girl pants on and stay tuned. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're back.
Yeah.
And we have a super amazing
fabulous
guest with us today.
I'm
just so excited.
Yeah.
Miss Rachelle Ugalde. Did I say that right?
You did.
Awesome. Good job, Shapiro.
Probably because
I
I follow her on social media on Instagram, so I think I'm cheating a little.
That's okay. That's fine.
So I can't wait to hear how you got started with this mission, we'll call it. I'm so excited to have you here. I want every single female out there, do not tune out of this. You have to stay with it, because from a body image perspective, you're changing the world. I really think you are.
Look at you, girl. Changing the world. Hair flip.
Yeah.
And
no big deal.
I don't even remember. We have a mutual connection, and I think that might be how you started popping up in some of my feed. I don't know how all the algorithms work, but I imagine that's how it happened. And let me share one story, and then I want you to introduce yourself formally. But I want everyone to know why, specifically, I was so attracted to you and why I wanted you on the show. So she had she posted a photo of her sitting on the floor. I believe you were sitting on the floor, bra and underwear, and just flaws. You were just showing the world, this is me. And I love me, and I'm okay with me. And I don't really care. I don't give a flying fuck if you're not. So, that was not what you said necessarily, but it was just this is me. Yeah. And that, it didn't make me cry, but it definitely resonated deeply, because I am the person, I just had my bathrooms remodeled, just to give you a glimpse. One of my bathrooms is, it's this ridiculously open thing now, where there's two, shower heads, and then this big rain head in the middle. So it's all open. And then the little bathroom, the separate one I just had redone, is this little closet type bathroom shower. I shower, this is embarrassing, in the little one, in the little shower, in the second bath, because I feel so exposed in my own bathroom, in my own home.
Where you and your husband live and that's it.
Right.
Right.
But there's also a lot of mirrors in that bathroom, and I'm just not, I don't want to see myself through my entire shower. Yeah. And so here you were just putting yourself out there and truly loving yourself completely. And her t-shirt says, I am enough. I want to be that person so badly, but I can honestly say I'm not. Yeah. And I think most people probably think I am, that I'm fine with, my body image, but I'm not. And so I am so happy that you're here, and I would love to know how this all got started. But first, share with everybody who you are.
Okay. That was so good. Thank
I know.
you so
She's
much.
the best.
You're welcome.
She's the best.
Yeah. So who am I? I mean, I have struggled with my body since I can remember. We were saying this kind of off recording earlier, but I was a size 14 in high school. I was the big girl. I'm also tall. I'm like 5'8" and a half.
Yeah.
5'9".
Yeah.
So I was just the big girl. I grew up, I don't know about if you guys ever heard this, but I was big boned. That was like the sweet way.
Oh, are you joking? That was
Literally my life.
mother used to call me, oh, she's just big boned.
Yeah.
Literally everybody's bones are the same size. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I know. I honestly thought, I was like, wow, like I just got some really big bones.
Right.
That's so cool.
Sweet. Cool. Maybe they're stronger than other people's.
Yeah. And then I realized it was a lie. And so I think I just struggled for a really long time. And then I got pregnant young. I was 19. I had my son at 20, and I struggled. I mean, I remember in high school, actually, that there were... First off, I moved from England to Texas when I was 15. So like a really strange time in my life to move. My grandma, who I was really close to, had just passed away. And then I moved here, and there's cheerleaders. That's not a thing in England. And I remember seeing these cheerleaders, and I'm like, wow, they're so beautiful. And then looking at myself, I mean, they all had the same body. You know?
They're like the gazelles of high school. You're just like, I can't stop looking.
Yeah. So, and that was not me. And I was not in any sports whatsoever. I didn't do anything. So, I remember there'd be like pool parties, and I'd be invited to, and I didn't have any friends really when I first moved here, of course. And I just couldn't go.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I didn't go float the river, how many times I didn't go to parties because I didn't want to be in a bathing suit. Mm-hmm. And I have missed so many moments because I'm afraid of what other people think of me, and
like realistically, those other people, like, sure, they're paying attention, and some are going to be shitty, judgy people, but like for the most part, they're so concerned about their own shit that they're like, they're not even looking at you.
Yeah, and when you're confident in who you are, they can try.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't matter.
Yes,
no.
Yeah.
At this point,
and if anything, they envy that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, wow, how can she feel so good about herself? Look, she doesn't even care. She's just walking around in her bikini.
Yeah. And so I just know I struggled a lot. And then it wasn't until after I had my son, I gained even more weight. So then I was like, it was plus, back then, it wasn't size inclusive. And I was in a 16, and 16 was plus size.
Yeah.
And
so you have to shop at the fat store.
Yeah.
Which,
that was a whole nother kick to my ego, Yeah. I'm like, wow.
You're like, cool, I was pretty low before, but now I'm like literally on the ground.
I was big bone, but now
I'm big
size.
Everything. Yeah. and then I got stretch marks. I mean, I have hundreds of stretch marks from being pregnant. So then I'm like covered in stretch marks. One of my boobs is way bigger than the other. I'm just like, it's just not
it's
cute.
It's a hot ass mess going on over here.
I remember looking in the mirror. I like happened to walk by, and I was like, ew, is that, I hadn't like really looked at myself. And then I cried and was like, oh. And so I just struggled. And it really wasn't until I had girls where I realized that, I'm like, well, I don't want them to grow up thinking they're fat. So I'm going to tell them that they're beautiful all the time.
Right.
And then I realized, it's monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, you're like, but I'm not doing that
Not
to
monkey
myself.
hear, monkey do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I got tired of hiding. I got tired of wearing certain clothes.
Yeah.
I got Spanx are so uncomfortable.
They're the worst.
Do you know what?
What?
Can I tell you guys something?
You wear them all the time?
I'm wearing them right now.
Hi. That's okay, honey. If you like them, wear your Spanx, honey.
Oh, I live in them. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they do
me and
stuff,
Sarah Blakely, we're besties.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with Botox and surgery. Like, I think it's whatever makes you feel good. But ultimately, it's your why. Like, am I doing this for everybody else, or am I doing this for me?
Yes.
And so, I've just been on a journey the last several years of just not so much loving my body, because it's hard to go from like hating to love, but just trying to get to a neutral space.
Right.
To just be like in the middle, like, okay, this is what I got, like there's only so much I can do.
I'm never going to be a size 2. It's literally never going to happen. If it does happen, it's probably wildly unhealthy for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I think our, Victoria's Secret, I grew up watching the show at once a year. And I remember being like, I just want to look like that. I just want to look like that. And that was my expectation. Like, if I don't look like that, then
there's something wrong with me.
Then I'm not enough.
Yeah. Like that was my standard. But I think we've come a long way. I mean, like when you look online now, I mean, you see so many different sizes. I think we're definitely on the right path, but it's taken a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's been scary, really. Like, I don't post things and I'm not like, fuck yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know, should I? And then I'm like, ultimately, it's like,
yeah,
fuck it.
I know.
That's
great.
really like
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just so authentic.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. It's just like you just are who you are, and you're putting it out there for other women to feel okay with who they are.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love it. I love the message. And you can see the comments and, what women say. Although you posted something recently where there were some negative comments. Like people had put some negative, like, why are you putting this out there?
Well, some guy was like,
shitty.
oh God, you're so fat, is what he commented.
Okay.
What a dick.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And I
guy.
mean, a lot of my people online were like,
Does your husband just want to find him and take him out?
my husband is the most laid back person you'll ever meet in your
You're
life.
like, no, I want to find them and take them out.
Yeah. He is like, well, he obviously doesn't like those kind of comments, but I don't, it honestly, from the bottom of my heart, didn't hurt my feelings. I was like, wow, because I know hurt people.
That's right.
And how shitty must that man feel, or boy feel, whoever it was,
about
to
himself,
say that to me.
To say that about you.
Yeah.
A stranger, virtually, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I really can have that empathy for people and just kind of, it is what it is. I had a lot of people say stuff, and I had to tell people, like, it's okay.
It's okay, guys.
Yeah,
I
like people are going
also,
to, shitty behavior. It's because they feel shitty about themselves.
That's right.
So I had to tell people it's fine. Like, it's not hurting me, but I do want to talk about it because it happens all the time. And not everybody might feel the same way as me and feel so strong to just be like, I laughed. I was like, God, it was actually said, God damn, she's so fat.
Oh.
I was like, wow, so God's involved,
Everybody's involved. Your tiny ego's involved. Everything.
Your tiny ego.
Yeah, I think actually one of our mutual friends, Amanda, said something, wow, you must have a tiny penis or something.
I was so sorry about your life.
Yeah.
You probably drive a jacked up truck too.
Yeah.
So
funny.
it's great.
Yeah, those kind of things just don't bother me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Same. When I was saying earlier, like, I will literally shower in my little shower, not my big one, because I don't want to be exposed. What's so interesting about that dynamic is, but yet I can get on stage and I do public speaking.
Fearless.
And I could see, well, that was a shitty, talk. I learned nothing. And I'd be like, well, I guess you weren't listening. Like,
I know.
It
Sorry
really
about
doesn't impact me at all.
Yeah.
And you could tell me, like, somebody could look at me and say, you are the fattest, ugliest person. And I would be like, I mean, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting dynamic. Is like, it really, words don't affect me, but my own head does.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. No, it's not, because we create our own limiting beliefs. They're typically created from under the age of 9.
Right.
And you typically have to hear something, I want to say it's 3 or 4 times before it actually gets imprinted. So for you in your situation, you need to kind of go back and figure out.
I don't need to figure it out. I already know.
You know what it is.
I know who it is. I know where it is. I know what it is.
Oh, really?
I got
it?
a calendar.
Yeah.
Circle dates.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But
it's rewriting
I know
it.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
rewriting the tapes that continually played in your mind. Yeah.
I wish there was a magic pill. I could be like, here, girl. I got you some good
right?
goods.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up
Get rid of them.
in the South, out in Louisiana and Alabama. And of course, my grandmother and my mother and, all of them were, they'd been in the South forever. And it's just a little different living in the South, right? In the true South.
Everybody
I don't
feels
know that
like they can comment.
I don't know that I count Texas as like the true South unless you're like in East Texas or maybe West Texas.
Dallas is not the same.
Not even West Texas, East. But the expectations on image are high.
Yeah.
Like the way you wear your makeup, the way you wear your clothes, the way you wear your hair. Like, you do not go to the grocery store. Now, granted, these things are dead to me now, but growing up, right? You don't go to the grocery store. My grandmother would do her hair. And I don't know if you remember, but our grandmothers, when they would do their hair, it was a thing. It was like a process.
Yeah. The rollers and the hair.
The whole bit, right? And it would take an hour or more. She would do that. And then her full face of makeup to go to the grocery store.
You're doing all this for Piggly Wiggly? What's going on there, Gran?
Right? But I grew up with that, so that was just like a normal expectation. So that the expectations around image were just so high. So my mother, growing up with that kind of, I guess, influence, decided she'd carry that on. And so the expectations were just the same. So I'm glad I got away, though.
I was about to say, so now you go to the grocery store homeless and you're okay with this. I do. I literally do.
If we weren't doing this podcast, I would have no makeup on until Monday morning.
Same. It would be wonderful.
None at all.
I would be living my best life.
For sure.
For sure. No makeup on, dirty hair. Like, I washed my hair today, first time in 7 days. Let's be serious.
And I'm wearing contacts today, but I have not had a pair of contacts in my eyeballs for 8 months, probably.
Which it also makes me curious, too, about, like, the self-image issues, because not to make it sound bad, but like I'm like, damn, because you're like, when you get older and when you get to be 40, like you just don't give a shit, you just don't care anymore. And I'm like, but what about it still matters? Is this shit ever gonna go away?
Yeah.
No.
Wait, are you talking about like the whole shower sitch?
Yeah.
Because it's not like what's so interesting is I don't care about what other people think. I really don't.
But it's ourselves. It's ourselves.
But I don't want to look in the mirror and see a bunch of fat staring back at me. Like, I'm just not conditioned yet to be okay with that image.
But what's wrong with fat?
Probably nothing.
Societally.
No, but in your mind. Yeah. Like, if you were to answer, like, if you look.
To me, it's a sign of laziness. It's a sign that I'm not taking care of myself. It's a slap in the face that I'm not making good choices. It's the reality of
you're like, shit, there's those cheese fries from last Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is my reality check. And so I would rather sometimes hide from that. Well, I don't know that that's entirely true, because like I am pretty healthy. Like I
was going to say, is that the truth?
Yeah,
because
I
our
don't
mind
know.
tells us things and our thoughts are not always
so
reliable.
Like, I don't know
so is that really
if that's entirely true, because I do try.
Are you just replaying an old story, you know?
I'm like, where's my cup? Yeah, I mean, probably.
Which is funny because I'm reading the Untethered Soul.
Me too. Michael Singer.
Yeah,
she's first of all, follow him. He has another book too that's amazing as well.
Yeah.
But I gave you that like 2 years ago.
A long time ago, and I never read it, and I'm reading it now.
So good,
and it's so amazing. And then I'm like, well, shit, that inner voice that always plays in our head all the time. Like, how much validity am I allowed to give it? And then it's like, remove yourself from the situation and don't give it any validity, but just listen.
Yeah,
and then that's like. Not to be, woo-woo, but it's like true enlightenment. Like if you can just sit back and observe and see what it's saying or whatever. And so many light bulbs have been going off since I've been reading that book. But I was the same. Like in high school, I was always the big girl, but I did play sports. I played football. So I've lifted weights since I was like 13. But it bordered on the, she's the big girl and then she plays football. So then is she like a lesbian? Like, is this the thing? And then... Like from there, I was always an athlete, though I always played soccer or whatever, but I was always the big girl. And the cheerleaders were like 00s, 2s, 4s, maybe 6s, And then I'm like continually comparing myself to those people. And then I'm like, oh, cool. Like it's cool to be the thick girl now. Like thick is a compliment now. And my body type is desirable now, which is great. But I also have body dysmorphia because when I had my daughter, who's now almost 7, I gained like... I think 60 pounds when I was pregnant with her, and then probably an additional 10 to 15 because my body type isn't the type that loses the weight when you breastfeed. It gains it and holds on to it. It's like, bitch, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. How annoying is that?
So fucking annoying. They're like, you're going to burn 600 calories per day when you breastfeed. Now, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, get on the boob now.
Well, and they're also not telling you that you're starving while you're breastfeeding. They're like, oh, you're a cow, literally.
Yeah.
So I held on to the weight for a long time. And then like on my Instagram, like I would post pictures, like before and after pictures of like when I was 240 pounds or when I was 250 pounds. And like, I still see that person in the mirror. So that body dysmorphia is also there. So it's like, well, shit, when am I ever going to give myself credit for all the work that I've done? Because even if I look at a picture, I'm still like, oh, well, I could do this.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I am healthy for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to the gym.
Yes. Also, you're not 300 pounds.
And that's my point.
Right.
Is at what point do I get to look in the mirror and say, you're 46 years old? Yay.
Right.
You did okay.
You're doing all right.
Yeah, I like the
sis.
figure. At what point do you let it go?
Right.
Right.
Do you ever just look at yourself and just at what point am I because you're
yes,
never going to have
course.
this body right now. It's never going to get any younger.
Don't
do
you
know?
know?
What I mean?
And I tell people this all the time. I speak out of both sides of my mouth because I tell people who are beating themselves up, appreciate where you are right now, because I promise you there will be a day when you look back and you will say, damn,
I wish I wasn't so hard on myself.
I looked freaking good.
Yeah.
I mean, I have that.
Oh my God, especially high school pictures. I'm like, damn, I was so hot.
I used to cry in my closet. So speaking of the cheerleader situation, I was a cheerleader for 7 years, but I was not a skinny cheerleader. I mean, looking back, I was not a large girl, but I felt like a large girl because I'm standing next to all of these little perfect
100-pounders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I always felt like such a large person. And now I look back and I'm like, oh,
I know.
Yeah.
why could I not?
Why can't I be the fat that I thought I was back then?
Seriously, I remember hiding in my closet, crying in the fetal position because I was so fat at my 118 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know a lot of girls who are 100 pounds who have body dysmorphia. I think it's just a thing.
I agree. Well, my mother, I was telling you about her.
Yeah.
Tiny.
Yeah.
She thinks she's huge.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, my 6-year-old said the other day, I've never and will never call myself fat.
Yeah.
I just don't. I just, my body will fluctuate, but I just don't say those things. I don't talk to myself that way.
Yeah.
And she was wearing these leggings and her belly was kind of rolled over a little bit, and we're out to eat, and she's like, Mama, I think I need to start eating healthy. And I'm like, why? Which we eat very healthy in general. And she's like, well, my belly's rolling. And I was like,
oh, here it goes.
Okay.
You're like, dude, it's natural.
Yeah. I'm like, I immediately
Everybody's belly
lifted up
rolls
my
when they
shirt
sit
and I
down.
was like, girl. And she's like, wow, yours is big. I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
That's great. So isn't that interesting, though? You're such a wonderful role model for your girls. You're doing all the right things. You're not saying anything negative.
They still have it.
They're still going to get, it's society, right? It's being fed to them through every possible platform,
At
right?
6.
And channel.
Yeah, at 6.
Yeah.
I mean, my 6-year-old does the same thing. She's like, and she's the biggest diva, the biggest, like, if there was a definition for the XX chromosome, that's my kid. Like 100%. She's such a girl.
Yeah, but then the next day, my daughter's like, she's looking in the mirror and she'll blow herself a kiss. Like,
oh, yeah. Oh, she loves herself.
Okay, that's
so it's not always, but I have to constantly, it's a constant reminder that even if it's not in the home, but like I've started when I look in the mirror saying nice things to myself, which when I first started doing that was the weirdest thing ever. Like, I love you. Like, why am I, like, you look good today, girl.
Yeah, you're like, how fucking cheesy am I?
Yeah. But now I do it with my daughters. And like my 6-year-old was like,
yeah,
I felt really brave today. And I was like,
my God,
yes.
I love that. That's
yes,
great.
ma'am. Yeah. I do the same thing with Chloe. After I watched that movie, The Help, where it was like, you're strong, you're important. I don't remember the other one, but I was like, oh man, we totally need to do those self-affirming words. Like, because she'll say the same thing. She'll stand in the mirror and like I do it. So I work out all the time, probably 6-7 days a week. And I'm always looking at myself in the mirror. I'm always posing in the mirror, but not like, and the coolest thing that I've noticed now is that I actually have a shitload of muscle. So like, so much that I'm like, oh my God, I should probably like chill out a little bit. Like I'm about to get jacked. Like my traps, like they just make my neck go away when I flex. But when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, wow, like I'm seeing definition and like abs and obliques that I've never seen before in my life that I didn't even know existed. Like, so when I'm posing, I'm looking at myself in that manner and not like, look how fat I am or picking myself apart or whatever. Cause I know that that's like so destructive. Yeah. But when Chloe was like looking in the mirror or looking at herself, she's like, she started like sucking in or whatever. I was like, why are you doing that? Like just not attacking, just asking. And she was like, well, look how skinny I am. You can see and it's funny because my boyfriend taught her how to do vacuums. So like for your abs. And she was like, oh, Matt taught me how to do vacuums. So she looks super awkward. And I was like, okay, we can, like, that's cool. We can do that. But as long as you're not like sucking it in as a means of like you feel like you're fat or overweight or whatever, because she is so healthy.
Yeah.
And we talk about things in terms of how we feel and like do you feel good after you eat this food? And like, if she'll eat like cookies or donuts or whatever, which I don't restrict because I don't want to give her an eating disorder because I had that. So I struggled with that.
Yeah.
She'll say things like, Mom, I feel really sugared, like after I eat cookies. And I'm like, and how do you, she's like, it doesn't make me feel good. So I'm like, cool. So when we eat those things, like we maybe don't eat so much that we feel bad.
Right.
Like, all of that stuff. Even though for me, like I literally only eat meat, but whatever. The ultimate eating disorder, I literally only eat meat. But I'm trying to teach her how to frame things to where it's fueling your body and to make yourself feel better. And that exercise is not a punishment and all of those things. Like exercise should be a reward for feeling better, like riding her bike and going on walks and stuff like that. And I can tell that when you frame it differently, it changes her perspective on it. Like, Mom, I really like riding my bike because I feel better after I ride my bike. Not I need to ride my bike because I ate pizza.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. I work out 5-6 days a week as well. I have since after my son when I was bigger, but same with my kids. It's monkey see, monkey do, you know? So I'm always trying to just be the best example. But my oldest, he's 12. He is just into computers. He's not into, you know. And so I finally told him, I said, you know, working out is not for anything other than to take care of your body. You've got one.
Right.
And that's it. And it's going to be a part of your life now and forever, hopefully. I said, but I want you to choose something that will feel good to you.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. But if you can't choose, then I will choose for you. But I'd rather you find something that's fun. He did a basketball camp and he's like, oh, it was okay. You know, but it's not about punishing, like you said, but it's a part of life. Like,
and also his mind. I mean, you can sell it to it to him that way too, and just say, "Do you want to get better at video games? Like, you're going to have a better mental
acuity for sure.
if you exercise."
Yeah. I haven't said that. I have to say that. That's good. Yeah, it's just a part of life, and I think it's important that they start young. You know, I hope that it's something that they'll all continue on. But we talk about food all the time, but I'm the same. I don't restrict.
Yeah.
You know, we have pizza Friday nights.
Right.
You know, but we eat vegetables with every meal.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and like so many other different things. I'm like, and typically, previously, when I would let her eat whatever it is that she wanted to eat, when it was just her and I, you know, it would be like, sure, you can eat chicken nuggets for every meal. Like, yes, you can eat a whole bag of pepperoni. I don't care, whatever, you know? But now it's more of what is it that you had donuts yesterday, so how can we balance that out today? We should probably have some blueberries and strawberries and vegetables and whatever. And she's like, cool. Like, she doesn't fight me anymore, which is awesome. And then a lot of people ask me, well, how do you get your kids to eat that? I'm like, if they're hungry, they will eat that.
Yes.
Like, and it sounds so mean, but it's like, they're not going to starve.
I've always been so frustrated with people who make like 2 dinners or like they make these exceptions for their kids who won't eat. I never did either. Like, if you want to eat, this is what we're having. And it was always healthy.
Yeah.
But then
they're like, oh, fine.
they became teenagers and had cars and they could go where they wanted.
And jobs and money and
Don't
whatever.
tell us that.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
So, tell everybody. So your t-shirt we just mentioned, it says "I am enough." I want everyone to know, like, is that a business? Is it a mission? Is it? Tell me a little bit about that.
It's a mission. The first T-shirt I came out with earlier this year said "worthy." One of the things I've struggled with is my worth, is not feeling worthy. And when I started my journey, I've been on this journey for about 10 years, like healing my, all my past trauma and just, becoming the best version of me. And I've never felt good enough. And when I started this journey, I remember I had to be reminded. I had one coach tell me, she told me to put an alarm on my phone. So I had an alarm go off at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and 3 p.m. And it said, I am enough. And so my phone would go off and I go look at it and it would be that reminder. Because, in the beginning when you feel like shit, when you're trying to feel better, you can read an affirmation and for like 30 seconds, you're like, oh yeah, that's nice. But then you go back to old ways. Our brain is programmed. It likes normal. That's comfortable. So when I'm trying to feel different, I have to be reminded all the time. So I created this T-shirt, and every time I look down, or every time I pass a mirror, I'm reminded I'm worthy. And so I created this T-shirt, and I'm like, maybe I'll sell one and just see, And so I put it on my website and I sold almost 100. And I was like, holy shit. Like, and I have people like Puerto Rico. I've got people in England. All over. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. So then I decided to create one that says, I am enough. And then I have another one that says, everybody is a good body, with different body types on it.
I love that.
Me too.
My favorite.
Yeah.
And they actually just launched a week ago. So
awesome.
we
got to get some to wear them.
I know, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a really great conversation starter as well, for people. But like everybody is a good body. Yesterday, I had so many people. I wore it out yesterday, and they were just like, "Wow, where did you get that?" And I'm like,
I made it. It's mine. It's mine.
Yeah.
I love it.
I also do, I'm hosting my first retreat for women. It's a self-love retreat. I really talk a lot about self-love. I'm a certified life and success coach. But self-love is kind of my jam. Like learning, I think it's the best love. I think when we fill our cup, when we love ourselves, we're able to give fully.
So much more.
So much more.
Yeah. So that's kind of my mission. And so I have t-shirts that kind of represent that. And I think I even did a hat. A dad hat that's really cute.
Love the dad hats.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
Especially on dirty hair days.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Girl. At the gym.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. And a phone case. So we added a few things, and I mean, I'm blown away by the people.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it's becoming a business?
Yeah.
I mean, nonprofit. I'm not sure how.
Yeah. So it is a business. Yeah. It's
And it was an accidental business.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to know more about your journey that you've kind of gone on the last 10 years. Like what sort of, which by the way, I cannot stop staring at your nails. I love your nail color.
Thank you.
They're so cute.
Thank you.
But more about that journey, because I'm sort of on that / have been on that since, I would say probably since before we started the podcast, maybe since like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
But I think that more women need to really go introspective and find out like your triggers, your traumas, all the things that are
know
holding
your origin
you back.
story. Like know what is causing all of, or what caused that trauma.
Yeah, but we avoid.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because it's really uncomfortable. Like
But the problem is when you avoid, it comes out in other places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, typically, this is the way I heard it. So emotions are meant to come out. That's
Yes.
why, they come out in our eyes, like with tears, right? Or like our mouth verbally. Sometimes it comes out in heat. Our hands, we sweat, right? And so whenever we have things and we push it down with alcohol and food and drugs and shopping or whatever your cocktail
Vices.
is,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, eventually you will explode, and that's when we have the breakdowns. And that's when we have, the people who end up, in a really, really bad place.
Yeah.
And I 2.5 years ago, I was bedridden. I could not get out of bed.
Wow.
I struggled with anxiety and depression. I've been in counseling for like my whole life. I think my mom has struggled, and I just think it's hereditary. I think it's something I'm just predisposed to. But yeah, over 2 years ago, I mean, it started 5 years ago. The anxiety and depression started like really bad, but it started because I started facing my shit. And so like it would come up, but then I felt like I was facing it, but then I'd kind of like, and I'm like, okay, too much. Like,
Yeah.
go back
Not ready
now.
for that yet. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on, please.
Yeah. It took a lot of counseling.
Yeah.
Counseling has been huge. Learning boundaries. We're taught to be.
That's my thing. That's my jam.
Yeah, we're taught to be nice. We're taught to be
And accommodating.
Yeah.
At our own expense.
Yes,
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, put everyone else in front.
Yep.
And then we have kids, and then, we forget who we are. I can't tell you, like, after having kids, it's like I was a nobody. I had no hobbies. I didn't like anything. I didn't do anything. It was all about what the kids want. And so really just kind of unraveling all the shit I've been through, and then figuring out who I am and what do I like.
Right.
And how you do that is you just try things,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Like you just try.
Yeah.
But I think to answer your question, the thing that the catalyst for me was fitness. I mean, it's the first thing that kind of like working on my physical body turns into like a mental thing. And then from there, I mean, it's books. I've hired life coaches. I've had so many, mentors. People help. You cannot do it alone.
No, you cannot. And I've had probably 3 coaches over the years. And I go to a therapist like once a year, and I sit with her for an hour once a year, and I just kind of share, whatever's on my heart at that given time. And I don't even know when I'm going to go to her. It's just like I just get the inclination, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go talk to you. So I think everybody needs that in their life.
Yeah. Well, people think that to go to therapy or go to counseling, it has to be like some big, massive thing, but it's a preventative.
No.
I go now every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you
as
can
a
share
preventative.
things that you just don't always have other people. We have friends, and yes, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But I just like going to someone who knows nothing about my life. There's no connection.
A neutral party.
Totally neutral.
Yeah.
And I can just
Unload.
unload.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing. Best
It
thing
is. It's
ever.
very therapeutic, obviously.
Yeah.
It's therapy. As is this podcast.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite. And I think the problem too with making sure that it's a neutral party, not the problem, but the benefit of having a neutral party is that like all of our friends, all of our family members, like everybody has their own opinions. And not that the therapist doesn't have their own opinion, but they're literally paid to sit there and listen to you and provide their perspective if you want it. But if not, you're just talking about everything.
Well, people project, don't they? They project their own values, their own things onto you, and it's nice to have someone who is not. I mean, they're trained not to project.
Well, and I think that's the whole boundary thing. Like that's been a big passion of mine. When I turned, I think I was about 29, 30 years old when I was dealing with all I was raised to be nice. I was raised to be sweet. I remember, my grandmother always saying, "Be sweet." Like that was the last thing she would say to me every day before I'd go somewhere. Like, be sweet. So we're raised to be accommodating and to be, nice and to say yes and to be helpful. And I think
bend over backwards, lay down.
Just like you were saying, do whatever we have to do to be able to check the nice box.
Yep.
And so it takes a while to face the fact that that's just not healthy.
No.
And I think that the hardest thing, especially for women, okay, fine with our kids. That's innate. Like we want to be great moms. It's with our parents, I think, more than anything, and specifically with our mothers, where we have to learn those boundary lines because it's so hard to say no to your mother. My God, we spent 18 freaking years of our life getting in trouble for saying anything other than yes, ma'am, unless you're...
I didn't even think about it like that. That's so true.
Yeah, you spend your whole life getting in trouble for not doing what they say.
Being conditioned to tell your mother yes.
Exactly. And so your mother is also, by the way, conditioned to expect that yes.
Oh, for sure.
And so when
and if you don't, then you're disrespectful.
That's right. And so it's a process for both parties to learn to sever that.
Yeah.
And I think I was about 29, 30 years old when I finally had that recollection or that epiphany. And I was like, okay, I will not continue my life like this. And I had a very, very serious conversation with my mother. I'm very close to my mom. She's over every weekend. We only live 5 miles from each other. Love her dearly, but there was a line. And I've made it very clear that I love you, but I love me more. Yeah. And I can't have you cross this line anymore. Yeah. So I'm not going to go into what that line looked like, but it was just, I'm going to say no to you. And really, if you can't be okay with my no, then that means the boundary issue is with you, not me. Yeah. And as long as you understand that, then get mad at me. Then that's fine. Like that's on you. You can get mad, but I'm just letting you know. There will be a lot of no's.
Yeah.
And I do. I mean,
love boundaries. They make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
I do not have a problem saying no to anyone.
Which is great.
I love saying yes. I love when I can say yes. But that's because I've allowed myself to be able to say yes and to be free when I say yes and not feel like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Like
it's
obligation.
A true
it's
yes.
not out of obligation. It's a true yes. Yeah. I definitely have pretty darn good boundaries, but it took me a long time.
Yeah, I know. Because when you first start, I did a podcast on this, and it was like when you first start and you learn about them, you're like, I'm about to be a boundary queen.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you
I'm about to tell all you hoes no.
Yeah. And then you do it, and then it backfires, and you're like, wow, this was not easy. I thought everyone was going to be like,
sucks.
okay, cool, great boundary. Yeah, but no, they don't. No. It is difficult. And you're like, oh, shit.
And the difference is you're trying to establish boundaries for yourself, but they don't have boundaries for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's the other problem that you run into. You're like, oh, this is not even about me.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too is when your kids get older, so you have these epiphanies and you realize, oh no, I have to create some boundaries between my adult relationships and my parental relationships. Yep. Well, then your children become adults. And guess what? Then you have to do it all over again. And you were setting boundaries when they were kids because they're kids. Yeah. But when they become adults and then they become your friends as well, then those boundary lines start to get crossed again.
What about when they're your employees?
And then that's actually worked out really well somehow. Maybe it is because of my ability to set boundaries.
Right.
But it's worked out pretty well.
Pat on back.
Where it hasn't worked out well is with my kids transitioning into adults and also friends. Yeah. I would say it has been harder to say no to my adult, because I never had a problem saying no to my children, ever. Yeah. Like I was that mom, like get a yes out of me. Yeah. And so now I find it very challenging to say no because I don't I don't care if I disappoint my mother at all. Like I don't want her to be disappointed. I don't want to hurt her feelings. Yeah. But I'm emotionally okay when that happens because I think I'm so conditioned. Yeah. I don't care anymore. But with my adult children, I will say that's hard.
Yeah.
I don't like them to be disappointed, and I don't like them to
Does
feel
it make
sad.
you not feel good?
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
No. And I still have to do it. But, for example, they'll want you to do something, attend a party or think a certain way politically or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And if you don't align with what they want you to do or how they want you to think, it's tough.
Yeah.
And so now I find myself cycling right back into, well, crap.
Yeah.
Now we got to draw the boundary lines again. So it comes back. It's like a never ending thing. It's like even when you think you bastard it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Done again. Here we are again.
Yeah, no, it comes back around.
It does.
Always.
It circles
It's
back.
New level, new devil kind of thing.
Yeah. And if you're young enough, which we all are, eventually, you'll have grandkids.
Yeah.
And then they'll be adults. And then you'll have those boundary lines again.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So-
that'll be fun.
For
Talking
who?
politics with Booper.
He's so cute.
Oh
Dang.
my God. He's the most beautiful little boy I've ever seen.
Dang,
Yeah.
that
Ever.
child.
So
that
cute.
child.
His hair.
His hair, his perfect
his
lips,
little-
everything.
He's like a little Tarzan.
Love him.
so beautiful.
So what's next for this?
What's next? So I have a retreat coming up in October.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So I have that coming up in
Yeah,
October.
what does that look like?
So it's my first retreat.
Okay.
I have another life coach who's hosting it with me. It's sold out in 2 hours.
Wow.
2 hours.
Are you
Hell
going
yeah.
somewhere? Or is it a house? Or is it?
Yeah, so we're doing a local one. It's going to be in Flower Mound, a lake house in Flower Mound, a beautiful, beautiful lake house. It's Friday through Monday.
Okay.
We have a lady coming out to do sunset yoga on
Love it.
Saturday night, which we're very
Love
excited
it.
about. It's actually wine down yoga because it's wine and sunset and yoga. So
Rachel, that's amazing.
yeah. So I'm excited about that. But we'll be holding workshops. So that's kind of my thing I'm good at doing. So I decided, I was asked to speak at a retreat earlier this year, and it went fantastic. And so since then, I've been asked to speak at other events. I held a workshop, Self-Love for Success. And I was like, I only want 15 people. It'll be over Zoom, so anyone in the world can join. Because I have a lot of connections like in England. And I had to do 2 because they both sold out.
Oh, wow.
15 people in each sold
Wow.
out. So that, so I plan on doing another workshop.
Okay.
I have 10 people on the wait list for another retreat. So I'm trying to figure out another retreat. I'd love to do beach. Like beach is my thing. Man.
yeah.
I'd love to do like a beachy retreat, but it's all about self-love. It's being able to love on these women and, teach them ways that they can, like practical things that they can do every day to really get closer to, the goal, which the goal is to just feel at peace, isn't it? We just want to feel at peace no matter what size,
Yes.
where we're at.
Because if anything, like we are the ones who, and maybe not all women, but most women, we internalize everything and then we're overanalyzing and we're thinking in our heads. And then it comes out, like I said, like if you don't address it, it will come out in other ways. It'll come out in freaking out on your kids or like self-deprecation or, self-destructive behaviors or alcohol or substances or whatever. We were actually talking about that on the last podcast. I said that I told Shapiro, because since my dad died, I haven't gotten drunk once or done anything else, like any substances.
Well,
or
you don't really
anything.
drink anyway.
I don't anyway.
I don't either,
But
yeah.
still, like, I'm very proud of myself for not resorting to that because I wanted to feel everything. And I think that when I think about it too, and like women and self-love, and this was just a thought going through my head whenever you were speaking about it, is like self-love comes through in every aspect of your life, with your children, with your spouse, with your job, at the gym, whatever the case may be, it comes out in everything. So like the relationship that you have with your spouse, let's say they do something that you don't like, but you don't speak up and you don't say anything about it. Then you just harbor that. Well, then you're at work and then something happens, your boss does
And then you're
something you
triggered,
don't like. Or your boss does something that you don't like and you don't say anything about it. Okay, so great. So then what happens? You go home and you pick up your kids and then your kid does one thing wrong and you just completely unleash on your children.
Yeah.
They're like, damn, Mom, why are you so mad?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, fucking everything in my life. And it's
true.
like, and learning boundaries both in work and in my relationship and in parenting has only literally liberated me.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
telling my boss when I don't like something in the most respectful way as I can, telling a client that, we can't do that way, or I can't do that because XYZ or whatever. And feels so
I think
good.
you just hit on such a perfect thing around setting boundaries and how we communicate those boundaries. I think a lot of people think that in order to say no, we have to say no.
Right.
but you don't. You know, it's all about diplomacy. It's all about kindness. It is about finesse. It's, hey, I wish I could. I really do. But, you know, it's just that's not going to work out for me right now. Or it's, you know, say it in a way that is loving and caring and compassionate. And it's not this no.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just going to trigger people and make them angry.
Because you see that all the time, no is a full word. And it is like a full sentence. Like, I get it. But no, it's right. It's like, you know, I'm so sorry I can't make it this time. Have a wonderful time.
Exactly.
You don't have to give a reason.
Exactly.
I wish when we did, because we make up excuses like, oh, my son is sick. I can't.
just say
I've used
no.
that before. Like, oh, my son's, just say, you know, I'm so sorry I can't make it. It doesn't work out for me.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then
funny
be at
'cause
peace with that.
That's literally what I told Matt that I'm going to start doing when he says he doesn't want to go places. I'm going to be like, well, he's just not interested in going. I'm sorry. He just doesn't want to go. I'll come.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to go.
Yeah. It's that
I'm not
simple.
going to make up a lie for you because you don't want to go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do that. Then I got to hold that inside too and deal with all that. No, I'm good. We're
Right.
good.
Yeah.
So your retreat, that's really fascinating. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I just launched I needed to give you the update on that networking group called Executive Movement. And it's really about executive women mentoring to women who want to be executives.
Yeah.
Because there's such a, you know, like 17% or something like that. Is it a Fortune 1000 are CEOs? It's like really, really enough. Fortune 500 is like 6%. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Tiny numbers.
Yeah. I don't know why I can't remember all the statistics right now. But anyway, I've wanted to launch a luncheon or do a retreat or something like that.
Or
and
a workshop
just
or something.
keep pushing it out a little bit farther. So I'm just so fascinated that you
just
rip
do
the
it.
Band-Aid off and just do it.
What are some of the topics around the workshops at your retreat?
It's really about self-love. So we'll talk a lot about self-identity. We're going to be talking a lot about one of the things I think people miss the mark on is self-compassion. We feel sorry for everybody else, but when we don't get our to-do list done, when we say something out of turn, when we get angry at our kids, like where's the self-compassion for ourselves? Like, you know, we don't shower in our shower. You know, we just okay. It's okay. It's okay that you don't do that.
I know. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. maybe, you know, it'll change. Maybe it won't. But just having that self-compassion. But teaching all the tools, you know, that I have used.
Yeah.
One of the things we love to talk about is limiting beliefs and how your thoughts create your feelings, which create your behavior.
Yep.
So if you have shitty thoughts, you're going to have...
And you self-sabotage.
That's right.
Because you wonder why I'm in the same place I was in 5 years ago.
Yep.
Right.
Shitty thoughts, shitty emotions, shitty behavior. So change your thoughts. It always goes back to that. But, you know, I still get negative thoughts all the time. But I catch it real quick. I'm like, not today, bitch. Like, we're not going there.
First of all, next. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Next.
It's a habit. I always tell people that are asking, because I'm pretty optimistic. I'm honestly to a fault sometimes.
I know I'm blindly optimistic.
What
could go wrong?
I you know, I don't know. I love it. I've had a pretty great life. It's worked out for me pretty well.
Yeah.
But I tell people gratitude is like the number one key.
Yep.
So when you wake up every single morning, if you're not good at journaling and you don't want to write it down, which is what I would highly suggest, at least spend a minute, if that's all you can grant yourself, and think about all the wonderful, beautiful things in your life that you are so fortunate for that you aren't, you know, guaranteed. Like those things could go away tomorrow. So just wake up and say, oh my gosh. And even if it doesn't have to be to God, it could be the universe, it could be to yourself, it could be to anyone, but
it could be the sun on your face.
It could be anything.
We talk about gratitude a lot.
That's where it starts.
I
really believe people who are truly grateful and appreciative of the gifts that they've been given in life, whether they worked hard for them or not, that's where it starts.
Yeah. A million percent.
Man, I love my house. In my opinion, I have a beautiful home. And sometimes I just sit on my couch and I just look around. I'm like, wow.
Me too. I'm like, I love this house.
I love my house. I'm so proud of you, house. Like, I'm so happy that you're in my life.
I love you, house.
Yeah.
And then that changes.
Sounds silly, but it's so true.
Well, it's so impactful too, because that changes the way you walk through your house, the way you look at your house, the excitement that you feel when you go home to your house.
The energy in my home.
Yes.
You know, the energy in your home.
It's a welcoming place.
Yeah.
It's not a stressful place.
No, it is not a stressful place at all. But it's just little things like that. Even my crazy husband, who drives me insane. I'm so fortunate and grateful for him.
For the crazy?
Yeah.
The morning routine is huge. Setting your day up for success is huge. If
You have
can
to start
just
there.
5 minutes to I think journaling is great.
I do too.
But,
I think meditation is amazing. I think you should get up in the morning. I have a journal. I have a meditation section area in my house, and that's where I do my journaling. But I know that doesn't work for everybody. I know that getting up at 5 a.m. and doing those things doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
And I get that. And I appreciate that.
But even when you're like driving to work, like thinking
That's the
about all
thing.
all the positive things, or when you're in the bathroom by yourself or whatever, doing your
Exactly.
makeup, like whatever it is that you do daily, then have that be like your meditative state. Because when we get into those flow states, like when I'm doing my makeup or when I'm driving or whatever, that is a sort of meditation because you're doing something that it's
repetitive.
not a lot of work.
Right.
And it's something you do all the time.
Right.
But also, like when you if you do work, and I know some people are still remote or work out of the home, but if you do work, it's a wonderful, beautiful practice that once you pull into that parking garage or parking lot, turn your car off and just sit for a minute.
Yeah.
Just take a breath.
That's for sure self-care, 100%.
And just take a minute to before you, because I listen to audiobooks nonstop. And so that can get stuck in my head. And I was getting in the habit where I would just turn off and walk in and then hit the ground,
ground
the second.
running,
Yeah.
yeah.
So just take a minute and
Set your intention. Like, how do I want to feel today? How do I want to show up today? Who do I want to be?
You're so much more prepared to handle that that situation that you are not expecting. You walk in and everybody hits you all at once. You're like, where have you been? I'm like, well, I'm on time.
Yeah.
But there's some explosion or some fire that needs to be put out.
It's going to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you're ready for it. You can handle it. And you can just like, all right, let's go.
Right.
Let's deal with it. Versus like, oh my God, this is going to be a day.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Works for me.
Yeah, it's number one. I mean, setting that time for yourself. People can make excuses. I don't have time, but I have people who do their routines in the evening.
Yeah.
That's fine. Maybe you just need to go to bed, but just making those pockets of time for yourself, it's huge.
Yeah, you do. Everybody does have time.
Mm-hmm.
It's having the discipline to own that time.
Yeah.
Schedule
absolutely.
it. Yeah. You have to schedule it. That's why I work out at a place where I literally have to make an appointment. It's the only way I'll go.
Yeah.
So I'm sad. I'm not like you two. Wish I was. Like I could just go to the gym and just do it. But I'm like, I get there and I'm like, what? I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna read a book in the sauna.
That's what I do.
I know.
I go read a book in the sauna. And I'm like, I
awesome.
worked out because see the sweat.
Yeah.
A lot of work here, guys. A lot of work.
So in honor of your time and your family that I know is probably outside waiting on you.
And hungry.
And starving.
I know. Can you hear my belly? It's been rumbling.
Oh,
No,
bro,
I
I've
can't.
been starving the whole time. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
No, I can't. I actually
sitting here
ate
hungry.
3 eggs before I came here.
Ooh, jelly.
So thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for your mission. Thank you for your words. Thank you for what you're doing. Keep doing it. As you can see, like I'm pretty centered and pretty okay with me. And even I need to see and hear those things.
Thank you.
So thanks for that. And just keep doing it.
Yeah, same.
You want to give us a
I
plug?
feel like we have very similar stories, which is super cool too.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we were all young
definitely.
moms.
I could tell
that's
when
for
you
sure.
first came in, like it was like a good energy, like good vibes. Yeah,
thanks.
sure.
My
Thank you
favorite.
for having me. I
Yeah,
appreciate
you're
it.
welcome. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
So
I
cool.
hope this helps spread the message, spread
and
what you're doing.
for people to find you. So you're on
Yeah, how do people
Instagram
find
at
you?
Rachelle Ugalde, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
But it's not spelled
spell it.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's RACHELLEUGALDE.
Got it.
Ugalde. And I have a website with, I have a blog. You can read my blog, and got a podcast that you can listen to. And my T-shirts are on my website. So
Perfect.
you can just
Go
go to my
buy the
Instagram.
And one
T-shirt.
thing that I really like, this is the last thing I'll say. One thing that I really like is when Shapiro asked you who you were, like your first title didn't say mother.
Yeah. No, I never.
And like somebody told me that yesterday or 2 days ago, and they were like, it's so cool that like you don't allow yourself to get overshadowed by your responsibility as a mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I love my kid. Like she's my
Yeah.
absolute favorite. I absolutely love her. I'm obsessed with her.
But there's
like,
life outside of our children.
Yeah, I try not to start off with, I'm a wife, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's, let me just talk about me.
well, first of all, my name is Rachel.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I'm the most
Hi,
important one
Rachel.
anyway. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Plug us, please.
Okay. Find us on all social media platforms. Facebook, Big Girl Pants Podcast. You can find us on LinkedIn, Big Girl Pants Podcast. Instagram is Big Girl Pants Pod, biggirlpantspod.com. And if you have any questions, biggirlpantspod@gmail.com. Or if you have any topics that you want to talk about or subjects that you would like us to cover, we kind of go full gambit. So feel free. Please subscribe and leave us a review. 5 stars only, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're on YouTube too. Did
And
you say
we're
that?
on, yep, YouTube under Big Girl Pants Podcast, and then every other podcast platform too.
Yep. Well, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It was so much fun.
So good.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.